morning and welcome to another edition of Research Fantasy presents our MLB DFS pitcher picks for Thursday, July 6, 2017. We've got a tiny slate of just 7 games, so you can expect a lot of overlap, and I'm sure that someone you're going to choose today will break your heart. So let's get things started with Jacob Faria. He is... Naturally, why would the internet work? He is 16,000 on fantasy draft, 8,300 FanDuel, 8,300 DraftKings. Look, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm expecting this kid to fall apart at any point in time. You're not going to make it through a year unscathed. He's taking on a Red Sox team that if it would be basically any other team, I'd be calling for the upset here. But let's face it, the Red Sox are trash. They're trash when it comes to taking on situations that they should succeed in. I mean, I'd be willing to go back and like one of the first games I remember them really hammering it on was against Ervin Santana, and this guy had done nothing wrong on the year. But you put guys like Parker Bridwell in front of them, you put other pitchers who are below average pitchers, and I don't know if they just think that they're owed something, and they just go out and assume that the umps are going to just favorably give them 4 runs, but they just fall apart. But this is the interesting situation with Faria. I haven't looked at the Vegas odds yet, but I don't think that he's being taken lightly necessarily around the league. Granted, I think it's only been 6 or 7 starts, but he's shown pretty good stuff. And that's a situation that scares the hell out of me, because that's a situation I remember thinking about Ervin Santana, and just in my head, I was like, you know what? This is when you have to play the Red Sox, because they're going to destroy Ervin Santana's hopes and dreams, because they destroy all of our dreams on a nightly basis. Anyway, Faria's on my list of pitching options that I like, and he's number 3 today for no other reason than the fact that this 7 games gives you 14 pitchers. We could do this video and it can be extremely top heavy, but would you really want to watch it if I just say, well, the top pitching plays of today are Chris Sale, Lance McCullers, and Jose Berrios just because they're the 3 highest priced options? I highly doubt it. You can look through this list, and I'm going to tell you right now, I can't say anything about Paul Blackburn. Granted, he had, a 6-inning, 4-strikeout game against Atlanta. I'm not touching him. Liriano, he could spin a gem at any point in time. In fact, this is the most inopportune time for him to do it, so I suggest getting him in your lineups, because this is how baseball works, folks. Francisco Liriano against a tough-hitting team in the Houston Astros. We just saw the Houston Astros destroy the Atlanta Braves pitching, specifically lefty and Jaime Garcia yesterday, so it would make no more sense than for Liriano to come this close to pitching a no-hitter tonight. But back to Faria, I just really don't like guys like Gaviglio, Tomlin, Bundy, Fulton Witts, Lamet. Even though the Indians just don't look like they want to play baseball right now, they just assume that they're going to just check off the card into the playoffs, and they're not really where they were at last year. Rich Hill, I don't really want to touch. Gio Gonzalez, I'm never touching Gio Gonzalez. So that leaves you with Faria, who I think is a high-risk, high-reward play. It took me 3 minutes to say all that, but it is what it is. Next up, we're going to have to go to the top. I'm going to go with Jose Berrios of the Minnesota Twins. 18-4 fantasy draft, 9,300 FanDuel, 9,600 on DraftKings. I mean, the Orioles are what they are. They're just an overrated offense at this point. Manny Machado, just really head-scratcher. How in the hell this guy went in the top 10 in season-long fantasy leagues. I mean, he's going to have to put up basically a flawless second half to make his season-long owners at least somewhat satisfied. The home runs have been there, kind of, but you're hitting like 216. I mean, it's a joke, an absolute joke. Jose Berrios had a rough few games here, but the talent level for Berrios is elite. There's a reason why he was a highly touted prospect for several years before finally making his way to the majors. with the strikeout upside that he has, coupled with the fact that the Orioles are not very intelligent at the plate, I could definitely see Berrios coming up with a double-digit strikeout game here. Next up, Chris Sale, ultimately the top play on the game. He's taking on a Rays team that ranks with the Giants, the Royals, and the White Sox in regards to teams I just don't like to play pitching against, because if you look at things like WOBA, ISO, hard hit, at least the last time I checked, the Rays were all up there very high against left-handed hitting, but then they have like a 27% strikeout rate. So you would assume that Chris Sale is going to navigate more towards taking advantage of the 27% strikeout rate as opposed to being taken advantage of by those other factors that we mentioned. It's still a risk, but it's one that you're going to have to take. Chris Sale, top pitcher of the day. Once again, our top 3 tournament options on a pretty unspectacular slate: Jacob Faria, Jose Berrios, Chris Sale. Thanks for watching. Make sure to check out researchfantasy.com, see the updates we've been putting in this week and in the future. Subscribe to our YouTube channel below. Head over to researchfantasy.com. I already said that. This is what happens when you roll out of bed and you do a video. Like us on Facebook at Research Fantasy. Follow us on Twitter at Research and Win, and join us again tomorrow.